Namo Shakyamuni Buddha, respectfully to all the venerable monks and nuns, and respectfully to all our dear Buddhist followers everywhere. Currently, throughout Vietnam and in many other Buddhist countries around the world, we are all joyfully celebrating the Great Vesak ceremony. It is a true happiness, a true joy, that here in this wild mountain forest, we are honored to welcome the footsteps of venerable monks and nuns, and to welcome the footsteps of each and every Buddhist follower who has come to attend this sacred festival. As is our custom, we would like to offer a teaching from the Dharma as an offering to all Buddhas, as a gift to our venerable monks and nuns, and as a gift shared with all of you. The title of today's Dharma talk is The Difference Between Merit and Liberating Merit. Merit is what we gain when we help other sentient beings. Now, sentient beings is a general term, but it usually refers to human beings. In truth, however, when we help animals, we also gain merit. That merit is a wholesome karma, stored away in the unseen. We are not aware of it, but it waits to bring us a good karmic result in the future. For example, a person who is wealthy and happy has certainly helped other beings in the past. This past could be a recent past or it could be a very distant past, but it is all in the past. That merit has been saved up. On the other hand, why is a person mistreated and looked down upon by everyone? It is because we, too, have done something to diminish our merit toward others. We failed to help sentient beings and passed up opportunities to help the world and its people. So now the karmic result returns, and we find ourselves with little merit, lacking in merit. That is the meaning of merit. However, making merit is not easy. It is easy to talk about, but not so easy to do. For instance, if we want to help someone, we are forced to give up something of our own. You cannot help the world and help people for no reason at all. To help someone through hunger and poverty, we must spend our own money. To help someone build a house, we must spend our own time and effort. To defend and protect someone, we must accept risks and trade our own honor. To do a meritorious deed, to make merit, we must incur a loss. It is not easy, and it is precisely because helping the world and its people requires us to spend and to lose that it becomes so difficult. Why? Because sentient beings are inherently selfish. We are inherently selfish. Therefore, enduring a loss for ourselves in order to help others is what makes it so difficult. And precisely because it is difficult, most beings in this world are lacking in merit. Consequently, the people who have enough merit to be rich and glorious are far fewer than those who are poor and miserable. Only when we all become aware of this, only when we are willing to endure hardship, suffering, loss, and expense to help the world and its people, only then can we elevate our own value by a step. Because we have elevated our merit by a step. Therefore, this difficult work, the work of making merit, is very difficult indeed. At the same time, we often want to be a good person, but life doesn't always let us. For example, when a Buddhist follower takes refuge and upholds the 5 precepts, one of those precepts is to abstain from alcohol. When attending a party, if we refuse a drink, we are criticized by everyone. They dislike us, they don't like us, they shun us, creating obstacles in our work and business. Our family then criticizes us, this person and that person criticizes us, saying, "Why make a fuss over something so small just to get ahead?" We want to be a good person, but often life doesn't let us be a good person. Therefore, to be able to make merit, to raise our merit, to raise our own value and build a good future for ourselves is not at all easy. We must understand this. Now, for those who have endured hardship to make merit, who have accepted loss and disadvantage to help the world and its people, giving someone a meal, helping someone through a crisis, sheltering someone in a storm, offering a word of comfort, after we have endured loss and expense to make merit, after we have accepted the world's suspicions and our own personal losses, then we have merit. And after having merit, what comes next? After having merit, when the karmic result returns, we become a person of a new class. We are no longer living the average, ordinary SOSO life of the past, but we step up to a noble and wealthy class. Because we have already accepted disadvantage, this karmic result arrives through 2 paths. Comes by 2 paths. One path is that we are rewarded, as if rewarded by the divine beings on high. The second is that we are repaid by the very people we helped. Remember it like this. We should remember that wholesome merit returns to us through two paths. One path is through the bestowal of rewards by divine beings. The second return is the repayment of gratitude from the people we have helped. Let me give you an example. In a family, there is a son who is diligent. He loves his siblings, cares for the household staff, and works hard, but he never has to help his father because his father is already self-sufficient. Seeing this, the father thinks, "This boy is good. He is obedient, kind-hearted, and always helping." So what does he do? He gives his son half of the family fortune, while the other half is divided among many others. This act of a father seeing the value of his good son and rewarding him is like us being watched and observed by the divine beings on high, who then reward us. This, too, is part of cause and effect, but the reward often comes through the protection of the devas, the bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, all because of our own kindness. The karmic result also returns in a second way, from the people we have helped. When they meet us again, they always have the tendency to cherish us, help us, and repay our kindness. That is the repayment of a debt from a past life. Returning to the story of the family, it is the same. The obedient son is given half the fortune and great authority by his father. All the servants and relatives then flock to this son to serve him, elevating him to the position of the new master when the old master, the father, grows old and weak or passes away. This son becomes the master, followed and supported by so many people. That act of following, supporting, helping, and serving is an act of repaying a debt of gratitude for the help they received in the past. Those are the two ways. This man becomes the master, first, because his father granted him power and wealth, and second, because he is supported by the very people he once helped, who now follow him in return. Two paths. We are the same. Right now, we accept the loss of what is ours to help the world and its people. Then, firstly, even before the people we help have a chance to help us back or repay our kindness, we are already being rewarded by the divine beings on high. Who are these divine beings? They include the devas of the celestial realms, who are always watching over this human realm, as well as the bodhisattvas and the Buddhas. That is why people who do meritorious deeds often experience strange luck. And the blessings of merit that come to us can surpass by 100 or even 1,000 times the help we originally gave. The law of cause and effect states that when we sow one, we reap 10,000. It is like planting a single mango seed. With fertilizer and water, it bears fruit year after year, its branches heavy with countless mangoes. It is the same for us. We might think, the effort I put into helping others doesn't seem like much. But when the karmic result returns, it is overwhelming. That is the truth. That is precisely the reward from the divine beings. That is the first way. Then, when we once again meet the people we loved, were kind to, and helped in a past life, they will now be deeply fond of us, love us, and help us in return for our past kindness. That is also a path through which the karmic result returns. Two paths like that. We must remember this. That is merit. And another characteristic of merit is this. When we have done meritorious deeds, when the karmic result returns, we are forced to enjoy the merit. And after enjoying the merit, what then? What then? The merit is exhausted. Once enjoyed, it is finished, it is gone. That is the law. And that is samsara, the cycle of birth and death. This is precisely why the Buddha, the bodhisattvas, and the arhats constantly teach us to turn towards liberation. Because merit, while it can lessen our suffering in samsara and make us more valued in this life, its result forces us to enjoy it. And when we enjoy merit, many things can happen. Many negative consequences arise. We will discuss that in a moment. That is merit. Now, what does virtue mean? Virtue is the goodness of the heart. It is morality, the goodness of the mind. Usually, this goodness of the mind and the meritorious deeds we perform are related. It is because we love people that we help people. It is because we are humble that we can respect everyone. It is because we have a kind heart that we rejoice when we see others succeed. It is our good mind that creates good behavior and a good attitude. For example, we see someone suffering, and so we check our pockets, we calculate how much we have, and we take it out to help them. One must have love for others to perform the act of helping others. It is usually like that. One must have virtue to create merit. That is the principle. One has virtue, and only then can one create merit. But there are also cases where merit and virtue are not related at all. For example, imagine someone does charity work, not because they love the poor community, but simply to call the media and announce, "Today I am helping this poor neighborhood. Come and cover the story." Why? To enhance their brand image. In this case, while the action is indeed helping people, the heart is devoid of love. This person, though they create merit, has no virtue in their mind. Or another example, near our village, a road has a pothole. Every time we pass it, we feel annoyed. So we take a hoe and fill the pothole. But as we are filling it, what are we thinking? We are only thinking of ourselves so that we don't fall. We are not thinking of anyone else. In this case, the action clearly helps others and creates merit, but there is no love for anyone in the mind. The action appears virtuous, but the mind is not. Then there are others who also take a hoe to fix a broken road or repair a precarious bridge, but they do so out of love for everyone. They want to prevent others from falling or getting hurt while waiting for the government to make repairs. This person creates merit because their mind possesses virtue and morality. So we see, there are cases where virtue and merit are related, and cases where they are not. Is it easy to cultivate this virtue in our minds? Is it easy? No. Why not? Because to cultivate morality in our minds, we must fight fiercely with our own bad habits and flaws. We must struggle fiercely with our inner self. How so? We have always been selfish, and now we must shatter that selfishness to love others. We have always been stingy and miserly, and now we must take our money out to give to others. We have always been jealous, hating anyone who is better than us, and now we must fight that jealousy to love and cherish those who are more successful. These struggles are painful, so very painful. But once a person has achieved virtue, these same actions become a source of happiness. Taking money out to help others brings joy to the heart. Rejoicing in another's success brings happiness. Once you have virtue, these virtuous states of mind become your happiness. But before you have it, establishing virtue requires a strenuous battle with your inner self. We battle our temper. We battle our defensiveness. We battle our stinginess. It is incredibly difficult. Therefore, establishing virtue is an extremely arduous path. But without virtue, no matter how much merit we make, that merit has no foundation. At some point, the castle will collapse. Only for those who make merit with virtue inside them will that merit be enduring. When it is time to enjoy that merit, we will face fewer dangers. This brings us back to merit and its consequences. When we enjoy the fruits of our merit, when we become wealthy, successful, and superior to others, a very dangerous consequence arises. It stimulates our ego to grow large. In the past, when we were making merit, giving money, building houses, offering comfort, our hearts were light and serene. But when the karmic result returns and we find ourselves in a high position with power and authority, giving orders that others must obey, when our house is bigger and our car is nicer, all these things, being better than others, superior to others, make our ego swell up immediately. It is this very ego that is the danger. It is arrogance that is to be feared. Arrogance is the door in the mind that opens and allows Mara to enter. Once this person has merit but fails to control their inner mind, allowing arrogance to take root, Mara enters. The person becomes short-tempered and prone to yelling. Most of all, they develop a love for indulgence, which leads them down the path of depravity. We see wealthy people become depraved precisely for this reason. They cannot control their ego when the merit arrives. To make merit, enjoy it, and then have it run out is one thing. But what is most terrifying is this: to make merit, enjoy it, and then create sin. This is truly dreadful. The time when one has merit is the very time one can most easily create sin. With power in hand, forcing others to obey, we easily become subjective and make wrong decisions, causing suffering to others without even realizing it. The most frightening scenario is to make merit. Enjoy it, and then, at the very moment the merit runs out, to have also created sin. What is left then? The merit has passed. Only the sin remains. And that sin will drown us in suffering. The cycle of samsara just continues to flow, drifting up and down, sinking and surfacing, from one life to the next. This leaves us utterly lost, with no idea of the way out. Utterly lost, with no idea of the way out. What does this mean? It means a person's life becomes a confusing mix, sometimes rich, sometimes poor, sometimes noble, sometimes lowly, sometimes good, sometimes bad. They no longer know which path to take, the path that leads to enlightenment and liberation. They live in delusion and ignorance, a truly pitiful state, just like all of us sitting here. So among us, there are wealthy people and there are poor people. The wealthy are simply enjoying their merit, so I won't say more about that. But the poor among us, it is not certain we were poor in our past lives. It's not certain we didn't know how to make merit. Who knows? In a life long ago, perhaps we knew how to make merit, enjoyed its fruits, then carelessly created sin, and when the merit ran out, we became poor again. But our great fortune is that we still have an affinity with the Buddha Dharma. We still have that connection, which is why today we know to come to the temple, to bow to the Buddha, to study the scriptures, and to practice. This is a promise for the future restoration of our spiritual merit. Otherwise, with so many of us sitting here, we cannot truly know what our pasts hold. Even those who are poor, do not assume you have always been poor. You may have once stood at the pinnacle of glory. And for those who are rich, you are enjoying merit in this life, but please be careful. Enjoying merit can cause the ego to grow, and a growing ego can lead you to create sin. And enjoying merit also causes the merit to run out. With your merit gone and new sins created, the future becomes dark and obscure. Therefore, understanding this, we see how frightening it is, how truly frightening. Committing sin leads to suffering, yet when making merit, we must beware of the ego that arises when we enjoy its fruits, for it too can drown us in darkness. It is like that. So what must we do? What is to be done? How must we live? How must we practice correctly? This brings us to the term tsongduk, or liberating merit. This concept will solve this very difficult problem for us. What does liberating merit mean? It is different from ordinary merit. Ordinary merit is when we help people with the normal things in this life. For example, when someone is hungry, we give them food. Thirsty, we give them drink. Sick, we help them get treatment. In need, we offer comfort. All the ways we help people with the things of this life is called merit. But liberating merit is different. Liberating merit is when we help people so that they can practice for liberation. These two are worlds apart. They are completely different in their cause and in their effect. This is why a great Zen master might dismiss someone's vast merit-making if he knows the person is attached to it and is not aiming for liberation. Their actions contain no liberating merit because they do not guide people toward the practice of enlightenment. And what is the result of that? In the future, the people we helped will find us, repay their debt, and the connection is over. The love between beings exists because of debts and affinities from past lives. When the debt is paid and the affinity ends, the feelings naturally grow cold. And life is like that. Samsara is like that. It seems so passionate and profound, and then it becomes cold and indifferent. All things are impermanent. We help people, they repay us later, and that's the end of it. When we help someone, we have the upper hand. But we won't have the upper hand forever. At some point, our own merit will run out. We will lose our advantage and face misfortune. Then someone will help us, repaying an old debt. The story ends and we are even. That is what merit is. Merit, once had, will be exhausted. Gratitude, once felt, will run dry. Love, once full, will empty. Because worldly matters are temporary and fragile. But if when we help someone, we hold in our mind the goal of liberation. If, as we offer a piece of food, we think, may this act of kindness become a seed of the true Dharma. May this person I help today be guided to practice. May they come to know the true Dharma. When we do this, our simple act of merit instantly transforms into liberating merit. It no longer creates a temporary bond that will be repaid and forgotten. Instead, in the future, that person will seek us out to walk the path of the Dharma together. An entirely new chain of cause and effect is created immediately. For instance, when we see a poor person, if we don't understand liberating merit, we just want to help them escape poverty. But when we understand cause and effect, we realize they are poor because they lack merit. We cannot carry their burden forever. They would only grow poorer and drag us down with them. What is important is to help them understand the path. They themselves must stand up and learn to create their own merit. And beyond that, they must learn the Dharma to practice for liberation. We cannot just see a poor person and give them material things because that will lead nowhere. So, when we help people, we must hold two things in our mind. First, how can we help this person learn to create their own merit and stand on their own? Second, how can we inspire in them a dream of enlightenment? We must have these two aims in our mind when we help others. Don't just help for the sake of helping. That creates only a temporary bond of gratitude that will be repaid in a future life, and the story will end. There are people who, in a moment of utter desperation, with no hope left, are helped by someone and they vow, "I am in such misery, I have nothing. Since you have saved me today, I swear that in my next life, I will be born as a beast of burden, a horse or a buffalo, to repay your kindness." That vow is extremely precise, because it will happen exactly as stated. In the next life, that person will be born as a horse for the other to ride, or a buffalo for them to plow. With no merit of their own, they are forced to keep receiving help, and so they must repay the debt by serving in the body of an animal. It is a deeply pitiful situation, and at that time, the master of the horse doesn't remember that this was the person he helped in a past life. He only sees a horse, and every time he rides, he cracks his whip to inflict pain. The more he whips the animal, the faster the debt is paid. Once the debt is clear, the horse will kick its master and run into the forest, or it will simply die. The debt is over. The gratitude of this world is temporary and fragile like that. But if, back then, the benefactor had thought about how to help the man create his own merit, to stand on his own feet, if he had helped the man cultivate an awareness of enlightenment and liberation to transcend this world, that would have been liberating merit. Just the other day, I was speaking to university students about the secret to success, and I told them this about cause and effect. When parents love their children, they want them to be happy and comfortable. Is this right? Yes, everyone thinks this is right. You love your children, so you want them to be happy. Conventional human morality stops right there. But this, unexpectedly, is a serious mistake. Parents who truly love their children must teach them how to create their own merit. It is not our job to make them comfortable. Our job is to teach them to create merit, to have virtue, and to develop wisdom, not to simply let them indulge in pleasure. This wisdom that a loving parent teaches their child to create their own merit is a new wisdom that future generations of humanity must understand. They must understand this. Only then is it a love for a child that is enduring and true. If we simply love our children by letting them enjoy every comfort, then soon after we die, their merit will run out, and their lives will fall apart. Returning to the beings of this world, it is the same. When we learn the principle of loving all people and all species, we want them to be happy. The right way is to help them learn to create their own merit to stand on their own. And second, we must guide them toward non-self, enlightenment, and liberation. That is true liberating merit. So, to be perfectly honest, giving someone a sum of money is not as good as giving them a line of Dharma. Giving someone a meal is not as good as sharing a few words about cause and effect, about sin and merit. If that person comes to believe in this, they will find the strength to overcome their own difficulties and create their own merit. Then they will stand up, full of value. But if we only help them with material things, they will forever remain our dependents, our slaves. They will have no merit of their own to stand up, and without us, they would perish. The act of helping must be this profound. We must help primarily with the Dharma. Material help is sometimes necessary, but it must only be secondary. And most importantly, remember this: when you help someone, they will find you, repay the debt, and it's over. And what does it become? As fleeting and insubstantial as dust. But if, when we help someone, we do it in a way that awakens in them an awareness of the true Dharma so they can practice for liberation, then what happens? That liberating merit is enduring, lasting for lifetime after lifetime. When you meet again in the future, there is no matter of repaying a debt and then going your separate ways. Instead, you meet as fellow travelers on the path, Dharma friends with a shared aspiration, walking together eternally on the road to enlightenment and liberation. That image is so much more beautiful. Therefore, when we help people, we do not want to make them dependent on us. We do not want them to meet us in the future as a subordinate who must serve us to repay a debt. We want them to become our Dharma friend, practicing for enlightenment alongside us. That is the true help born of compassion and wisdom. So from this day forward, whenever we want to help someone, let us think, let us form this intention in our minds. May this person learn to practice for enlightenment and liberation. This may start as just a thought, but from this thought we will naturally find a way, step by step, to guide that person, to help them begin to practice. Therefore, merit is helping beings, then enjoying the merit, and then the merit is exhausted. The beings repay their debt, and the gratitude is also gone. Virtue is the morality in our heart, the goodness within us. That is the root, but it is very difficult to cultivate because it requires a battle with ourselves. And what is liberating merit? Liberating merit is helping beings with the aim of guiding them toward enlightenment and liberation. That is the merit that is enduring and everlasting. Let's return to ordinary merit. It may sound lofty, but everyone in this world must know how to make merit. Why? Because merit is the measure of a person's value. To live in this world without merit is to lose our own value, to be a human being that no one respects. Therefore, in the way beings treat each other, evaluate each other, and see each other, everything is, in truth, governed by merit. So, never be foolish or indifferent about making merit. We must always be making merit. If you can help someone even a little, you must help immediately. In every thought, every word, every small action. For example, just moving over on a bench, squeezing in a little to let someone else have a place to sit and listen to the Dharma, is a meritorious act. A very small act is still an act of helping, an act of making merit, let alone the countless other opportunities in this life. So merit must be made without pause. However, we now understand the consequences that merit brings. What are they? Enjoying merit will exhaust it. Enjoying merit will create arrogance and can easily lead to sin. And the people we help will return to repay us as subordinates, which is something a person of wisdom and compassion does not desire in the least. So that is merit. To have merit, enjoy it, and then have it run out is truly a wearying thought, a tiresome cycle. And this is precisely why we develop a dream, the dream of liberation. Understanding this cycle, this rising and falling, glory then decline, going up and then collapsing down, we grow weary of samsara. When you look closely, it is meaningless. But to escape this samsara, one must also begin with the act of creating merit. For example, if someone understands how tiresome samsara is and wants to renounce everything to go practice, that is also a mistake. Why? Because to have enough strength to overcome samsara, one must also rely on merit. There is just one difference. An ordinary person has merit and then enjoys it. A wise person who knows how to practice has merit and then uses it to practice. They use that merit for their practice, to be able to direct the mind toward enlightenment. First, one must know how to create merit, but with the heartfelt aspiration not to enjoy its fruits, but only to use that merit for one's practice. That is the first thing. Second, one must begin and forever maintain an absolute respect for the Buddha. We lack wisdom, so our respect for the Buddha is small. But we must keep trying to respect the Buddha. Every day we must kneel before the Buddha, prostrate to the Buddha with sincere and fervent respect. We must compel ourselves to respect the Buddha, even if in that moment we don't feel much respect. We must still bow and show reverence. Later, when we attain the fruit of stream entry, our respect for the Buddha will become natural, absolute, and overflowing. At that point, it is spontaneous. But for now, we must compel ourselves. This is the starting point, and it is indispensable, beginning now and for countless eons to come. Furthermore, we must practice meditation to calm the mind. Our minds are always racing. The world is increasingly stressful. Worldly things pull us down, sinking us into delusion. We must have meditation to calm the mind. This meditation has two approaches. The first is the formal practice of sitting meditation as we did earlier. The second is mindfulness in daily life. In our daily lives, we must always remember what we just learned. Remember that the body is impermanent. The mind should never leave the body, whether we are speaking, listening, working, in a crowd, or alone. Even as we begin to fall asleep and drift into dreams, we do not forget. This body is impermanent. That is mindfulness. And that mindfulness prevents our mind from being scattered, allowing it to become calm and clear. And from that, wisdom arises. And then, unexpectedly, one can attain the fruit of stream entry. The moment that happens, your entire being, your very soul, is transformed. Attaining stream entry doesn't mean you can fly or perform miracles. But your soul becomes a different soul, one filled with the ideal of enlightenment. You become a truly good and noble person, with absolute respect for the Buddha, and you find you can no longer commit evil acts. That is the fruit of stream entry. And in this very age, it is true, there are people here and there who have attained this fruit. It's not that they don't exist. Though we are far from the Buddha's time, though the true Dharma is sometimes obscured and the path is arduous, here and there, in the vast sky of Buddhism, there are truly people who have attained stream entry. Some are monastics, but many are also lay people whom I know personally. I am not lying. Attaining the higher fruits is very difficult, but many have indeed attained stream entry. Why? Through diligent meditation, making merit, and bowing to and respecting the Buddha. These fundamental practices can also lead us to attain the fruits of sainthood. Returning to our sitting meditation from earlier. Dear Buddhist followers, when you were sitting, was it painful? Was it? Many of you said it was very painful, and that is a very honest answer. Anyone who says no is a liar. Meditation is deeply painful. What is the pain? Mostly the legs, the pain and the numbness, right? Having to sit still without moving, well, that can be controlled. But the leg pain, after a while, becomes an intense suffering. The longer you sit, the more it hurts. And the more it hurts, the more you hate the man who made you sit there. But it's not like that. A person who endures that leg pain in meditation every day, even if they don't attain any spiritual fruit, will receive a blessing later in life. On the day they are old and weak and departing from this world, when they close their eyes, they will not be tormented by illness. They will die very peacefully. Why? Because their karma has been pouring out and dissolving during their meditation sessions. Every single bout of pain in your legs is your karma being paid back, little by little, day by day. So in the future, when you die, you will not suffer from painful illness or torment. You will pass away very peacefully. If you don't believe me, just keep sitting. Try it until you die, and you'll find out for sure. I am serious. And for a person who has enough liberating merit to attain a spiritual fruit, well then, they achieve freedom over birth and death, which goes without saying. But for an ordinary person just sitting in meditation, enduring the pain as our past karma is gradually paid off in each ache and numbness, that alone is worth the effort of practicing diligently every day. And beyond that, if we sit with the right method and with diligence, it truly holds the promise of a future of enlightenment and liberation. That is the dream of all of us who are disciples of the Buddha. Especially today, as we commemorate the day the Buddha came into this world. He came to sow a path, to open the door to enlightenment and liberation for all. From that moment, sentient beings had a way to follow. From that moment, the world had light. And for thousands of years since, because of him, we have committed far fewer sins. If there were no Buddha, no teaching of cause and effect from him, no teaching of non-self, no dream of enlightenment that he planted in us, we would have truly created so much more sin. and we would not be sitting here at this moment. We would not be sitting here today. Today, we sit here under the forest canopy of Phat Quang Pagoda. The air is hot, but the warmth of human kindness is abundant. We are here to remember him, to love and respect him, and we make a vow in our hearts. For the rest of this life, and for all the countless lives to come, we will follow in his footsteps, practicing diligently to find enlightenment and liberation. And on that path, for all the eons to come, we vow to love everyone around us, to help one another, so that we may all learn to practice and aim for that same goal of enlightenment and liberation. I respectfully wish all the venerable monks and nuns, and all our dear Buddhist followers, a season of Vesak filled with peace, happiness, and diligence. Namo Shakyamuni Buddha.